Now, please welcome Ambit's #1 income earner and member of the $20 Million Club, national consultant Brian McClure.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Austin, Texas. Hello, Hartford, Connecticut. And hello to everybody at the watch parties around the country, everybody looking online. I tell you what, today is going to be what I call an epic day in the history of Ambit Energy. What's going to happen today is going to change the direction, the dynamic, and the opportunity that we know of as Ambit Energy forever. But I can tell you our business is simple. It boils down to a very, very simple business. You see, you can take all the activity in the world. You can take the activity of calling people on the phone, attending meetings, coming to Simulcast, checking your power zone. All that's activity. If one activity leads to another activity, what happens is you don't make any money. Because Ambit Energy pays us to do two things and two things only. They pay us to gather a handful of loyal, keyword loyal customers, and then they pay us to build an army of people to do the same thing. But if you do the math on that, we're all business owners, right? We chose Ambit Energy to drive revenue to the business that we own and operate. We can will it, we can sell it. It's our business. And if you do the analysis as a business owner, Ambit Energy is going to pay you a nickel per customer per month. So if you get your 20 customers, which qualifies you for everything in the marketing plan, they're going to pay you $1 a month. Now, I don't think there's anybody sitting in the convention center in Austin or sitting in Hartford or doing a watch party, whether it be in Erie or Chicago or elsewhere, or sitting in their living room looking at this online that got involved in Ambit Energy for $1 a month. So if Ambit Energy is only going to pay us to do two things, gather a handful of customers and help other people do the same thing, and we want to make more than $1 a month, unless you're really crazy and want to try to go get 1,000 customers, then they pay you $5, okay, or tip $50 or whatever that math is. By the way, I went to LSU. It took me 5.5 years to graduate. I was a Miller Beer campus representative for the 5.5 years, so I'm not real good at math. But bottom line is, you got to spend 99.9% of your time building a sales and marketing organization. And I want to give you a couple of silver bullets, a couple of takeaways that you can take away from this simulcast. And you've got a notepad and a pen. You might want to write them down. If you bury yourself in the success of others, yours becomes a byproduct of it. My dream in life, and I'll never forget this story, is Chris Chambliss, after the first ambition, I was the #2 income earner. Carlos Marin was the #1 income earner in that first ambition in October of 2007. And I'm a competitive A-type personality, so next time I got together with Chris, I said, that'll never happen again. I'll do whatever I got to do to become the #1 income earner. And he looked at me very, very calmly. He said, Brian, you don't want to be the #1 income earner. Oh, yes, I do, Chris. I want to be the #1 income earner. He said, no, you really want to make all the money that you desire to make in Ambit Energy, and you really want to be the 500th income earner, and you want 1 through 499 to be in your downline. And no truer words have ever been spoken, right? In other words, if you bury yourself in the success of others, what happens is yours becomes a byproduct of it. And so we have a system. And you're going to have people that are going to come into your Ambit Energy business, and they're from the insurance business, or they're from real estate, or they're from retail, they're whatever. And they're going to have their own ways of doing things. You know what? If somebody comes into my business that won't tie into the system, then I just wish them good luck, because how am I going to mentor them? How am I going to help them build their business if they're not building it the way that I've built it? If somebody wants to do something off the wall and try something different, I just wish them luck and say, hey, if it works, let me know, because I'd like to know more about it, but I wouldn't be the one to help you with that. So we've got a system. There's a great book written by Michael Gerber. It's called The E-Myth Revisited. It's not a network marketing book. It's a business book. You can pick it up online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever. And in The E-Myth Revisited, what Gerber talks about is he talks about you either work for a system or you have a system that works for you. So that's really the differential between you either work for somebody, you're an employee, or you're tied down to your business in such a way that you're dependent, your business is personality driven, if you will, versus having a system that works for you where your business is systems driven. And he gives an example of a baker that's got to go in at 4 o'clock in the morning and knead the bread and do all that to be able to open the doors at 7 to be able to serve the public. Versus a McDonald's. You walk into McDonald's, you look at the counter, the French fries are always on the left, the salads and the ice cream are always to the right as you're looking at the cashier. Why is that? Because the ice cream and the salads are less ordered products, and they're the furthest away, thus the furthest away from the drive-through, where the vast majority of McDonald's business goes through a drive-through. And so they have a system that works for them. We have a system in Ambit Energy, and I don't have time to drill down into the system, but at a high level, the first step in building your Ambit Energy business is for you to make a written list. This is a written list of prospects, of people that you can plug in, help others do the same thing to build your sales and marketing organization. So you make a written list, and the purpose of the written list is to invite somebody to look. And this is an important distinction. It's not to invite somebody to join the business. That's a little premature. I think a lot of people, particularly newer people, are showing the business to people, and they think, well, only thing I want to try to get out of them is get them to join our business. Well, that's the eventual goal, obviously, but not only join the business, but then go gather those handful of active or loyal customers so that they get paid. But the invitation is to take a look. So if you get it in your head that all I'm trying to do is get people to look at the business, and how do we do that? We do it through our websites that we get for our $24.95 per month. We do it through the DVD and Success from Home magazine. Do it in an automated fashion. So you get somebody to take a look. First look is preferably in an automated fashion, and then the third step is presentation. Well, if you get them to take a look in an automated fashion, they've seen the presentation. And then the fourth step is validation. And validation is simply where you're putting them on a 3-way call with somebody in your organization, or your upline, sideline, whoever it may be. Or you're sitting down and having breakfast with them, or coffee with them, or lunch with them. Or you're taking them to a hotel meeting, which are a critical part of what we do in Ambit Energy. All those are validation events. Or if they haven't seen the Success from Home magazine, you're handing them the Success from Home magazine and perhaps pointing out somebody in that Success from Home magazine that they have an interrelatedness to. And so, again, the system is you make a written list. The only purpose of the written list is to invite somebody to look. You invite somebody to look at the presentation, and from the presentation, do validation. Now, if you think of those 4 steps, I want you to think about it. If all you ever did is make a written list, can you enroll anybody into Ambit Energy? No. You see, if all I ever did was make a written list and never picked up that phone to invite somebody to look, I wouldn't be able to build a sales and marketing organization. So there's zero possibility of enrollment at the first step. So look at the second step. What's the probability of enrollment, or the possibility of enrollment at the invitation? If all I ever did was make a written list and invite people to look and no one ever took the look, zero possibility of enrollment at that juncture as well. So it's only at presentation, the third step, that the possibility of enrollment occurs. And what the fourth step does is it simply increases the probability. The validation after validation after validation, as you do multiple validations, it increases the probability that somebody's going to get involved in our business. But what happens is, at the end of the day, somebody can say, yes, I want to do the business, where you're going to go to the computer, sign them up immediately, and help them gather a couple of customers. They can say, no, they don't want to do the business. And I can encourage you to tell you, look, I've had a lot more people tell Brian McClure personally no than said yes. Can you believe that? John Haas gave me a hat one time. We were doing an event several years ago up in New York, and it said Intergalactic Commander on the hat. It had all the lettuce, the gold lettuce on it and everything. I never forget that. In fact, I have it up in my trophy case. But the Intergalactic Commander of all of Ambit Energy gets told no more than he gets told yes. Yeah, that's the way it works. So people say yes. A lot more people are going to tell you no, and the vast majority of people that you talk to about this business are going to say maybe. They're going to say, I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my husband. I need to come up with the money. I need to, I'm getting ready to, summer's getting ready to start, and I got big plans this summer. I've got a big project at work. It comes to us in a million different ways as to why they can't get involved in the business right then and there. And so it kind of goes like this for most of you. What happens is that, they say they're going to talk to their wife. Okay, when do you think you're going to talk to your wife? I'll be able to talk to her this weekend. So you call them on Monday. No, I get a chance to talk to the wife. And you kind of go through that cycle, and you feel like that little gerbil in that cage is going around, going around, going around, going around. Some of y'all how many people can relate to that here in Texas? All right. Absolutely. And so it just happens over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden what happens is what? They quit answering your call, right? They never tell you no, and they never tell you yes. And so what happens is that in our system, you just have to know how to make that transition. Because this is what I know. If a new person will not open up their sphere of influence or create a written list, then what happens is that they're not going to be successful in the business. So if they're not willing, if they don't believe enough in what they just saw, and they may have very legitimate reasons for not being able to join the business right then and there, but I'm going to find out right then and there how interested they are by knowing if they're willing to give me a few names and telephone numbers. Not for me to call, but for me to sit with them right then and there and teach them how to invite those people to take a look at the website or get them a DVD just like they looked at. And so what happens is when a person is willing to make a written list and actually engage in talking to people, even though they may not have joined the business, then what happens at that point is that we've got a true maybe. We've got somebody that's really interested. But if they say, oh, no, you don't have to think about it, this, that, and other thing. Well, look, just anybody that you know that's done you a favor or would like to make some extra money. Well, let me think about it, Brian. I'm not really sure about that. Folks, that's a no. So you don't have to call them back and beg them and everything. You just turn to them and say, well, look, let's do this. Let's get you on the service. Let's get you trying it for 2 or 3 or 4 months. Think about who you might want to get engaged in the business. And at some point in the future, if that makes sense for you, we'll sit down and revisit it. They are so relieved. They're going, oh, thank you. They're so relieved because they don't feel that pressure anymore. It's not like you're trying to sell them anything. It doesn't cost anything to become a customer. We're in the education business. We're not in the selling business. And so at that point, there's no more callbacks. There's no more having to worry about it. At that moment in time, whether they're going to do the business or not. I want to mention one other thing, and again, I call it a silver bullet. And it's the difference between what typically people refer to as sponsoring somebody into the business or recruiting somebody into the business, and the distinction between that, regardless of what label you put on it, versus enrollment in the business. And this is very, very important as you're working the system, that you enroll people into the business. And what do I mean by enrollment? You need to find out what a person's why is. Why is it that they're looking at this business? Why is it that they're interested in getting involved, or why is it they got involved in Ambit Energy? Maybe it's the kid's college fund. Maybe it's get out of debt. Maybe it's out of an apartment into a home. Maybe it's a nicer automobile of some sort. Whatever it is for them, you need to find out what their why is. Silver bullet. Find out what somebody wants and show them how Ambit Energy will get it for them. If you can be successful in that, you enroll them in the fact, okay, this is enrollment now, you enroll them in the fact that what happens is that by joining Ambit Energy, by investing the $75 to get started in our business plus the $24.95 for the first month's website, so investing approximately $100 in themselves, that they're going to get out of it whatever it is they want to get, whether it be the college fund or whatever it is for them. And so the key to our business is to enroll people in the business, enroll them in the dream of what Ambit Energy can do for them and their family. And what I can tell you is when you quit sponsoring and quit recruiting and you start enrolling, what's going to happen is not only are you going to bring more people into your business, but the people that you bring into the business are going to be successful, and that's not going to be 100%. I mean, it's not going to go like everybody you bring in is going to tear this thing up. It doesn't work that way. People are people, and they get distracted. I can tell you this. Within the next couple of hours, you're going to hear the largest announcement ever in the history of Ambit Energy. If you're at home, don't leave that screen. God bless y'all and Ambit Energy and everybody involved with it.